Alright, so welcome back to part 3. Hopefully this will be the last part. But you know, I don't necessarily usually, when I make my videos, I don't usually plan ahead of time. Alright, so the oil is still dripping. I'm gonna call it good. So here's my new filter. So let's look at the old one. Let's compare the height real fast. So old one versus the new one. See that? So it's about 3/4 of an inch in height difference, but as far as the diameter and such goes, diameter and what the O-ring is, and how recessed the thread is, it's all the same. So I'd rather have something that has a little bit more oil capacity, but also more filter element. I think that's a little bit better. Screw this in there. Oh, so before let me screw it on there, I already pre-lubed the O-ring here. Basically, you know, dip your pinky in your oil bottle and just smear some oil on here. This is so that in the future when you take this off, the O-ring will stay with the filter. Otherwise, lots of times when you don't do that, what happens is the O-ring might stick to the engine, and if you don't realize that, you take that off and the O-ring's still there, and you put the new filter on, the double stack O-rings, and that does not seal. That will actually cause a leak. And a long time ago, when I was a teenager, I had a coworker. When I used to work in a grocery store a long time ago, as a teen, I had a coworker that took her car to one of those quick lube places, you know, those speedy oil or quick lube or whatever the hell they're called. So I'm using, so this thing has a little grip, palm grip here. So I'm right-handed, but I'm using my left hand, turning it as tight as I can with my weaker hand, and that's more than enough force to hold this on, and I'm gonna call it good there. So anyways, back to the story. So she took her car to one of those quick lube places, and they when they changed, or whoever previously changed the oil didn't put the oil on the O-ring, and those quick lube guys, they didn't check, and they put the new filter on, and it freaking leaked, and she drove around with losing all her oil, and her engine seized up, and you know, and this business was a franchise business, you know, kind of like McDonald's is a franchise, so it's privately owned. And the owner, you know, he wouldn't man up and take responsibility. You know, that's how it is when you're cheap about your employees, and you hire a bunch of chumps that don't know what they're doing. And that's how those quick oil places are. They're just a bunch of chumps. They don't know what they're doing. You know, they're not careful at all. They're not even trained properly. So they did that, and so he wouldn't compensate her for her car. So what she did was she actually contacted corporate, and actually corporate basically made him pay, made the franchise guy pay for it, and because when her car seized, she actually took it to the dealership, the Toyota dealership. You know, her car was a Toyota. Oh, what was it? I can't remember what it was. It was that funky little Toyota that came out for like a few years, and then it stopped back in the 90s. So anyways, the Toyota dealership documented everything. So you know, she sent all that to the whatever quick lube corporate to show documentation. So they made the franchise guy pay for the rebuild, you know, the repair of her engine, basically, you know, complete rebuild. And that was like, man, I think that was like at least $5,000 or $7,000 or something like that to rebuild the whole motor. So it was pretty pricey. So don't do that to yourself, okay? So now I have my Fumoto, and this thing is, you know, Fumoto is Japanese. It's made in Japan, very nicely made. Looks like brass to me. I could never tell, you know, being colorblind, I could never tell brass and bronze. I think this one looks more like brass. It's just a little bit lighter color. Usually the bronze is a little bit darker color. That's how I could tell the difference. But otherwise, realistically, I really can't tell. So this, let me, and I show you guys how it worked before. But let me show you how it seals. So this is the part that goes in here, right? Goes in and it's hollow. And then you see these holes here. That's where the oil comes out. So there's an O-ring here to seal that end, to seal this end here. On this side, there's another O-ring, and it seals that side. So that's basically how it seals. So again, this thing is, you know, it is brass, I believe. Let's see if this thing's gonna work. Let's see if it clears. Looks like it might not clear the oil pan on this side. That's like a lump. So it actually sticks past the plane there. So this might not work. Putting the valve on this side. Nope, it doesn't. Actually, yeah, it does clear. Let's see if I can actually go bring it further. Either that or I could flip this around. Or flip this around, the valve will actually be lower than here. And I think it would probably hit the that pan. So right now it's still pretty good, but it's not tightened down yet. So there's still like a millimeter here and a millimeter there. And actually, this side doesn't matter. It's this side that matters. But it looks like I still have space. I can see air. I can see not air, but yeah, air and light on this side. So hopefully this will work. So let me move the drain pan out of the way. Now that this thing's being held. So I think it's a 10 millimeter. Where's my 10 millimeter? Let's see. So yeah, that's a 10 millimeter for sure. Let's see, I could tighten this thing in and tighten it down and cinch it down. So the top on the valve, the top there's plenty of space on the top. I can see plenty of space. The spot that I'm concerned is right here where the the corner of this nipple, the nut for the nipple, right here. It might touch the and if the flat spot was right there, it would be perfect. But obviously I can't do anything. Otherwise it would be loosened or tightened. So that kind of sucks. Actually, you know what? I have enough space. I have so much space up on top here that I can actually turn it down to that. And actually, now it's touching the top, the valve, the valve itself, the valve mechanism. So if I make it between the two, between the nut and the valve itself, I think I have enough space. So right about there, I should have enough space. And actually, that's a good thing, because that way it angles this thing down, so that way it'll drip easier. It'll drip out easier. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm gonna call that good and cinch it down from there. This thing shouldn't need that much. It shouldn't need that much tightness, because it has the O-rings. So hopefully, and this is not the first time I used one of these. I use this. I also have this on my Yamaha motorcycle, and also on my Honda Fit. Actually, I have two of these on my Honda Fit. I have it on for the engine oil and the transmission oil. So in the future, when this thing reaches, I don't know, wherever X amount of miles, I'm gonna put one of these on the transmission oil too. So that way I make it easier on myself to change the transmission oil. So hopefully this thing doesn't move. The way it is right now, there's enough space right here and enough space back there. I can actually see light through there to both sides. So that means it's not touching. Oh, see that? It moved when I was cinching this down. So I don't like that. Move it back just a little bit. I'm trying to hold this here with my thumb so that way it doesn't move, but obviously there's not that much leverage using your thumb. Man, I think that's about it. I can't put much more than that, otherwise this thing keeps on spinning unless I put a wrench right here. As far as torque value goes, I don't even know what the torque value is. I should use the same torque value as the drain nut, so it's probably, I'm guessing it's probably going to be something like I don't know, probably like maybe 15 foot-pounds, 10-15 foot-pounds, somewhere in that range. It's not, it's not that much, because this thing is not holding any type of structure or anything like that. It's just a drain plug, so it shouldn't be that tight. It should be just tight enough to stay put. So so that's about it. All right, so I'm probably gonna call that good. It's pretty tight, because if I spin any more, this whole thing will move. That basically means it doesn't really get any tighter than it is. So that's good here. And if I put my hand back here again, you can still see this clearance here. That's only like an inch of clearance instead of 2 inches. and this drain valve is still clearing. Even with my hand here, it's actually still against here. It's just about, flush. So that's perfect. This, I'm not worried about this thing, if in the future something rubbing, whatever, I'm not worried about it because this is all pretty much flush, and it's still above the subframe or the frame, and the and that cover pan covers over here, so it should be no big deal. Everything will clear. All right, so that's it. All right, thanks for watching.